here. There she is. All right. And so if you guys need to see this video, it's going to be up on the YouTube page, Keller Williams Downtown YouTube page for now. I'm working on getting it up on the Keller Williams Advantage page as well. We're getting that one put back together so that we can utilize the YouTube space for you guys in training. As always, when we're going through this class, it is fine to interrupt me if you have questions. If you are trying to follow along, it might be a little tough. We're going to go through a lot, so I'm going to be moving kind of quick, but just remember there's a video that's going to be coming out later in the week so that you guys can rewatch this and follow along if you need to, and go from there. But we do have a lot to cover today. We're going to go through a little bit of how to get to and design the quarterly magazine, the different ways that you can utilize it. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other marketing within Command that helps you to market it. We're going to put it in an email. We're going to put it in a web page. And if we have time, we'll do a landing page as well as the web page. We'll see if we have time, but definitely we're going to get it onto one of those spaces and show you guys how to put it into an email, whether that be the full magazine on a quarterly basis, or if you wanted to break that magazine up and maybe do one story each month that they provide, because each quarterly magazine contains 3 different pre-written stories for you, or stories, they're more articles, they're not stories. 3 pre-written articles about real estate for you guys to use that are general enough that you can use them across the nation. Everybody can use them with very minimal editing, but there is some editing required. So I'm going to share my screen. While I'm sharing my screen, are there any questions before we get started? I'll open it up to you guys. All right. Evan, did you have a question?
I did. I realized I was muted. Once we edit it to be our platform, or like our template or whatever, will it just automatically come with content every quarter, or do we have to re-edit it every quarter?
You get to re-edit it every quarter.
Good choice of words. Okay, thanks.
Good question. Thank you, Brian. But yes, you do have to edit it each time. Command's not at a fully drop-in level where you can drop in. At some point, I do seeing the assets portion of Command having some kind of function where those things will be tagged and it'll be a quick drop-in button for a lot of that stuff. But I do think that's quite a bit ways away for where we're at with designs right now and WeBrand. But I do think it's possible and coming at some point. All right, so we start today on our design screen. So we need to actually get into the design menu and go edit this at first. And so to start, we're going to look for the Create Design button in the top right corner. And when we click on that, we're either going to click on Print or Social. We want Print because this one does show up in the Print menu. You can print this or share it digitally. We're not going to talk as much about the print options. The print options basically from Command is downloaded as a high-quality PDF for printing and then send it to a printer. That is your best bet if you wanted to actually get physical magazines printed to mail out, to hand out, to give away at open houses, things like that. There is plenty of reasons to do both electronic and paper copies of this, but it is a lot more expensive to print out these booklets and to get really nice quality ones that look nice. I've made booklets like this. You're looking at probably anywhere from $15 to $30 per booklet for a pretty nice one. And they kind of vary from there. You pay for, or you get what you pay for a lot in printing. And so do research. I also recommend there's some places that our offices work at that you might be able to find discounts as well. So you can look into that if we have any discounts at some printers. All right. So what we're going to look for is lead generation over here on the left. And we're going to come down to where it says personally branded zine. You can see all the different marketing pieces that pop up for this. We can come in, and if you select either the booklets letter or booklets A4, that's going to pull up the actual magazines that are in here. There we go. So we have the 3 different magazines. The one in A4, they didn't make the first one in A4. And A4 is just kind of like your metric version. Some printers do prefer that measurement. You can see versus inches. It just talk to your printer, see what they prefer. You can download it. Just know that if you make changes to the letter, the booklet's letter, it's not going to make changes to the booklets in A4. You'd have to completely restart and redo that one. Now, the other ones in here are just marketing temp pieces for you to use. I usually put these right inside an email with this in there. And so we'll use this photo for making memories. You can see it's all branded to the current magazine. So let's go into our letter and we'll go into making memories. That's the one that we're in here now. And you guys, this took me over a year to see, but if you hover right over the edge of the template, you can actually click through it and see the different pages inside it, which, like I said, it took me like a full year to realize that that was there. But that's really nice because there's a lot of templates. Any templates that have these numbers in the corner little bubble, you can click through and see them. And sometimes there's like Instagram templates that have 4 or 5 different cards, and you can look through them all right here on the screen instead of clicking in. So handy little tip there, but we're going to click on use to actually open up the designer and be able to edit this, this document. Thank you guys for your patience with the editor here. It always takes a moment to load up.
Hey, Steven, I've been followed everywhere. I'm good. I'm caught up, except for, can you tell me how to get, what was the first thing you clicked on to get here? I apologize to everybody for asking this question.
To get where I'm at now?
Yeah.
Designs, like the very first click?
Yeah, designs. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So this is something that I've been running into with some agents is if you come over and just click on that picture, it will look like it adds that that page to your template. And if you make edits to this, it will not save. And the difference is you don't want to click the whole page. You want to click this little plus sign in the corner, because what you need to do before you start editing anything is you need to build out your magazine first from the template. So instead of clicking on these, that just shows them as a preview and you can make edits to it, but it does not save it. We actually need to add the pages to our template. So I'm going to use actually the second page as my, they gave you 2 different front pages. You can choose which front page you like, depending on, you can see the font's a little different. And we can change the photos in a lot of these. So I'm going to use this second one, but I'm going to click that plus sign in the corner to make sure it actually adds that page. And you can now see I have 2 pages inside of my actual document. This first one that's blank, because remember, it didn't actually just showed us that preview. It doesn't save anything to that first one, and that's why it's blank. So I'm just going to delete that guy now that we have our first page in here. And I will minimize the pages. And now let's scroll through the different template pages that we can add. Oh, there's a third title page. 3 different pages to choose, title pages to choose from. We have our agent bio page, so we can add that one in too. We can put in our quarter of review. The quarter of review, you need to update these numbers. They are not set for anything specific or real. You need to update these, but you can change the different numbers in here to apply for either Keller Williams downtown or the neighborhoods that you work in, or we're just going to skip that page because you don't have to include a page if you don't want to. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add the buyers and sellers article. So I'm just going to click on the title page for the article. I'm going to click on the actual content page and the second content page. And to be honest, if I wanted to do a monthly newsletter, I would put maybe the finishing page right there. I just might put the back page on it right at that, and then call it just a nice one article newsletter. And then you can see that there's 2 others you could do the same with to make a monthly newsletter. We could save everything from here, or we could go through and we could add more to it. So maybe I want to actually, I have a listing I want to feature, so I'll put in the featured listing page. And then I'll scroll down and I'm going to skip the second article. I'm going to put in the third article, 6 shortcuts to summertime energy saving. This one's just a 2-pager. And then I'm actually going to come back up and I'm going to add in the review page. I like the review page in mine. And then I think that's it for me. That's the only thing I'm going to make right now. All right, I'll add on this back page. There's 2 different back pages. You don't need to use both. They're very similar. It's just kind of a color and font difference again. The photos and picture is pretty much the same. On there, you can add your Ask an Agent. There's a couple more pages you can add, hottest spring listings. But we're going to skip those for right now and just add on this back page here. And now I have a 10-page document. I can see the full 10 pages over here to the right. At this point now, I still have it called Untitled Design. So I want to save a new name for this. And so we're going to call this August Newsletter 2021. Now I have it saved. I see the saved at the very top. And now if I want, I can start editing the pages. And so we're not going to go into too much depth about editing. I have different classes on how to use the designer to do that. I want to show you guys how to really like use this template, not just how to edit it. But edit your DBA name. Hopefully you have that saved into your assets as well, so that you can easily just switch out your logo for your market center. Come in here, switch it out. You're going to change your name, and then that's usually about it. It's usually a couple pieces of contact information. You can use the zoom button to zoom in on some of these. All these are good, so we can move on to the next page. And I just would advise you guys go one page at a time, zoom in and scroll through the whole thing, because it's really easy to miss some of the changes that need to be made. So in here, again, DBA logo at the top. We have a couple of notes to change in here, or we have just your name to change in here. Put in your logo, a couple names to change in there. And then this Dear Current and Future Clients letter. This one, most of it we don't need to edit, but you can see if I want to edit something, I click on that box, and you want to hit the typewriter at the top. You don't want to try and double or triple click inside there and try and edit it. You're going to end up shifting the text over or moving it, and it's even harder. So use your typewriter. It pops up a nice little text box on the side, and you can easily see in here anything in these brackets you're going to want to change. So this is just changing the speaker. If you're saying, like, if you're on a team, you're going to say our, versus if you're an independent agent, you might say mine. And so there's a couple places you have to switch between my and our. And then at the bottom, there's the contact information that you need to change. You make those changes, you hit Save Changes, and you can move on to the next page once you've filled out all of that information. Now be careful, sometimes there's like some side stuff. I'm going to see if we have a page that looks like that. There'll be some different little material on the side that you have to fill out. So for instance, on this one, again, you need to go in and edit any of the me's and ours, or me's and us. And then you see contact information down here right below there as well. Let's see. Let me find, here we go. We go into one of these other kind of pages. These are just as editable as any other template. We can come in here. We have access to the KWLS where we can pull in listings. We can pull in the descriptions, grab how many square feet, how many bedrooms. All that information can be pulled in from the KWLS to help you figure out this information. You can put in the schedule a tour information around how you do that yourself, of how you'd like them to do so, calling you, calling another person on your team, whatever works for your business. But a lot of these, it's a little tedious to go through at first, but you have to do it once. And then you can move on with these. But really all of it is just putting that information in. The listing pieces have a little bit more detail to go into. If you don't want to include something like this, you do have the option to come up here and remove certain pieces. If you don't want to put as much information in, maybe I want to remove that and just highlight really more of this and do it a little differently. So you can edit these. You can make them look the way you want to look. If there's a piece of information you can't find or don't know, you don't have to include it. You can always just remove it. It is your magazine, so make it the way that makes you feel comfortable to send it out. All right, so I'm going to pause right there and see, are there any questions about kind of editing of the magazine or creating your specific magazine like we just went through?
Is there a place to put, like, when at the bottom when it says like download our app, is there a way to put in our hyperlink for our app or something like that? Or say like schedule a tour or whatever, or schedule appointment maybe for future clients or whatever, like a Calendly. Obviously we can just type that in, but if we email it, will it show up as a hyperlink or will it show up just as print?
So
That makes sense.
yes, it makes perfect sense. So Brian's asking, can we link out different parts of these as the digital document so that if people receive it digitally, they can actually click on a photo or a button and then it will jump out to the internet and go to that link or whatever it is. So the way you do that, Brian, is you click on the element that you'd like. Let's just use the picture because people like to click on pictures. And then up here at the top, you're going to see this little 2 chain links put together in the top corner. You click on add link, and then you type in the link that you'd like it to go to. So we're just going to put it to one of the best websites out there. And we're going to hit apply. And when we send it out, we're going to test it to make sure it works. All right. Good question. Great question. What other questions do you all have?
Can we do that to text too? Like if it says like, so if say in there, I might be over redundant, but if I put like my URL, it says like insert URL. If I put something in there, can I create it to be a hyperlink? Because obviously I can't because there's a link there.
Well, so Brian, the same way when I said element, any element. So you can't just do the 2,033 square feet. I can't just select that and hyperlink it like it works in like Microsoft Word. I can do the whole element, just like when I click on this text, or if I clicked on featured, or if I clicked on 55 North Loop, I still have this option to add the link, and it works the same way as the picture. I just type in the link, and if they hit that little box of text, it creates it to be a button where it jumps them out to that web page. So what I'm saying there is it has to be the entire text box of that part. So if you have to, you just copy the part that you want, paste it in, it becomes a new text box, and then you link that, delete the other one out, and move it over, right? It's not a big deal if you have to, but it just has to be the entire element. It can't be a section of text within the element.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great questions. Anyone else? Are we ready to boogie?
I had a question. I am not driving while I am listening to this. I seen at the very beginning when you're selecting your templates, basically, is that also the same place you're selecting the content, or does that make sense?
Are you talking about this templates, the templates here on the left side that I'm scrolling through now?
So, because I remember when you on our meeting and our team meeting, you showed us a template and it had like 10 ways to stay cool in your house. And I kind of liked that one. Is that within this? Oh, there it is. Yep, that's perfect. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss that.
Yep, no problem. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit about how we can utilize this file now. I'm just going to utilize this one. I'm not going to go through and edit it all. We're just going to show you how to get this out of command and kind of how we can utilize it across the command system. And so I just want to reiterate, you need to change the title. If you do any of the steps beyond this point without changing the title, it is not going to work. So make sure to change the name of it to something unique, and then we can use all these different features. Now, there's a couple different ways to get this out. We're going to talk first about how to share this really simply digitally with a link that you can use across the board. And that's through the share menu at the top. So when we click on share, we see this window pop up. Now notice if it defaults to this design is only referencing the page we are currently looking at, not the other 9 pages. So if I link this, if I use this link at the bottom, it's only going to be the featured listing page, none of the others. You have to go to the top and we see this little, the project tab. This is the entire 10 pages, the whole project. We copy this link and we can see that if we bring this link out and paste it over into a new tab, it will open up this nice viewer where we can thumb through the magazine. So there it is. And it just slides on through just like that. Really easy, simple. They can click up here. They can download, print, go to full screen. They can share it on these different platforms themselves when they go to this link. They can't edit it or anything. It's PDF, so it does not let them change anything, of course, about it. And you can see if I click on download, it just switches it over here to a full-blown PDF that I can download myself. All right. Whoop. This.
Hey, Justin. Stephen, if you send this out as a PDF and it has hyperlinked stuff that you put in there, like your link to the, click here for a tour or whatever, will that still work on the PDF, the email version of a PDF, or does that go away?
I don't think it's going to work in this viewer. We're going to try right now.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it works when so I'm going to do it a different way. This is not the way, I don't use this link personally. I think this viewer is kind of goofy looking and it doesn't really do all the things I want it to do. And yep, it looks like it did not take the links in here as I expected. And so I want to show you guys how I would actually utilize this. It is more work, but it becomes more dynamic through that work. And so I would recommend doing it this way. So instead of using the share button here, we go to the download button and we're going to click on download, and we can keep it as the standard PDF. We can switch it over to the PDF for printing if you're going to print it. I generally do not print these. Keeps the file size a little smaller as well to go with the standard. You can use either. For what I'm going to show you guys, either one will work for this process. It just might take a little longer to load on your pages if you're using the high quality because it's just a larger file. But we're going to use the standard PDF meant for larger files, multi-page documents, or just the ones that we want to share on the internet. And so I'm going to click on that PDF standard. Now, I want to make sure I select all my pages because you'll notice again, only page 6 is selected by default. I just need to come up here and select all pages, and then it'll make sure to print all those to the document. Print as in actually just make the PDF. So we're going to hit download now. Now, this part requires a little patience. If you see, okay, last save changes, cool, and then you hit the done button, you're not getting your download. At the top, it says preparing for a while. Now it's still downloading, Hold on. And now we have our file. And now let's see if our link worked. So I'm just going to open up this PDF. Come on. There we go. So this one will show up more in your standard PDF view. This is just a .pdf document. Most browsers will open it just like you're seeing it now. I think this one looks a little bit better, seems a little bit more normal for most folks. Woo, there we go. See if it works. Oh, I know why. So the mistake I made there was I didn't put HTTPS before it. It was just a security error, but it did work. And so if you are using your KW website, make sure to use HTTPS :// and then your sub URL .kw.com.
The S, not HTTP.
What?
You have to use the S one, not the. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very important. Otherwise, you get errors like that. Make sure you're using the security protocol. That's what the S is for.
Okay.
All right. So now we still need to be able to get some kind of link. We've downloaded the PDF to my device, but now I need to actually get it to be a linkable web page, essentially. And we are going to utilize Google for that. So at this point, you go into your Gmail account. And I would suggest using your Keller Williams one just because I know all of you have one. And then all you need to do is come up here, click on the applications button with the 9 dots, and go into your Google Drive. Now that our Google Drive is loading up, we're going to upload a document by clicking on New. All right. My video is going to need to pause. I'll stay with you guys, though. All right, let's try that again. New, and let's go to File Upload. And I'm just going to select the document that we just created, the one that we just downloaded. Open that one up. And it is loading. While this is loading, are there any questions about downloading or sharing the PDF of what we went over so far?
I just want to confirm, in order to download and share it as a PDF, we have to go through Google Drive.
This is one of the ways to do it.
Okay, the easiest way, would you say?
What was that, Ashley?
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I like this way just because it's easy. We all have Google, so it's easy for me to teach to it, and I know that all of you guys can do this. All right, so now we just go into that document, double click on there in Google. It's going to open up the PDF viewer. And at the top right, we're going to click on the ellipses for more actions. And then we're going to go to the share option. We'll see a small window pop up. Are you guys seeing that window on Zoom? Okay, perfect. So first, what we want to do is come over here to the wheel and click on the small settings wheel at the top. And you want to make sure just that viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. And then editors can change permissions and share. We do not want to have that selected. If for any reason it does not say anyone on the internet can view, oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Let me come back to that menu. There we go. All right, so if any reason it doesn't say what it says here, anyone on the internet with the link can view this, then you need to click on change and then make sure it says anyone with the link. You don't want it to be restricted, and you don't want it to be with restricted within the only people who have like a .kw email address. Make sure anyone with the link is connected and that it says viewer for anyone with the link. We only want them to be able to view this. Then you can click done. Once those settings are good and you hit share again, all we have to do is just copy that link. And then we can see if we open a new tab, paste that link in there. It opens it up in the same PDF viewer that we want it to be in. And let's check the link through here. Where did my page go? That's weird. Did I delete that page before we downloaded it or unchecked it? All right, I don't want to waste your guys' time trying to figure this out, so I can show you guys how to utilize this a little bit more. All right. So now we have the PDF, we have a link, and there's two ways to utilize it at this point. We can take this link and send people to this page right here so that when they click on a button on your email, it sends them right over to this link so that they can take a look at the PDF, open it up, they can download it, all the different things. And we're only going to share it digitally. So let's take a look at how we use this inside an email. So we're going to click on, just going to save this real quick. And just going to download another one real quick. All right. Come on. So when we want to create an email campaign, we're going to go into designs again. And same thing, start at the same point, create a design. But instead of clicking social or print, we're going to click on the email option and then continue. We're going to be dropped into the KWRI templates. Please notice that you also have your own templates up there, which is all the saved work that you've done in the past. But Keller Williams has a bunch of pre-made design templates for you to use. There's lots of templates. There's 72 of them. Everything from filled out templates to ones that are meant for just listed, just solds, open houses. Lots of resources in here, but that's a whole different class as well. So we're just going to take a look at Modern Newsletter A, the really, really basic, simple one that I love, especially for little send outs like this. If I want to create something, I can make it pretty easily. This one is just a headline. We have a small picture at the top, a headline, some words, a link, and then it builds out all this nice stuff for us. And so all that, you know, gibberish that looks like it is at the bottom, when you click the preview, that turns into all this nice stuff that it pulls from your marketing profile. So it pulls in my emblems and all my information, my brokerage numbers, keeps me compliant with these beautiful statements to make sure that all this is good. And we come up here and we just need to edit a little bit. And if we want, we can even add in that picture that I spoke of earlier of the marketing that we can download from the designs as well. So I'm just going to pull the picture in. That green bar that you see bouncing around tells me where it's going to land, and I want it right below the headline. I'm going to add an image and browse my computer. I've downloaded that one earlier. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Nope. There. Yes. All right, when I download that and put it in there, it's a little big, so I'm just going to edit that real quick by clicking the pencil in the corner. It's 750 by 750. I'm just going to change that down to 500 by 500. Seems to always fit into the cell phone preview a little bit better and keeps it the way I like it. And this one we're going to edit as well. We click on the pencil. Instead of headline copy, we're going to put summer news. Actually, we're going to put August newsletter and click on done. Oh, I didn't change the font. Let me just go back in there and edit it, highlight what I want. We're going to go with the Roboto, and then we're going to drop this up to 42 and click done. And I'm going to put in a little bit of space there too. I don't like Roboto there. That's what I like. All right, we come down in here. Now you can write your own blurb if you would like. On here, what I do generally is just take the first paragraph from one of these that seems pretty good, and I think I used this one here last time, so I'm just going to jump in here and take some of the text that they gave me just by using that typewriter tool again, coming up here, and I'll just grab this first paragraph up here, summer has arrived, and copy that, and just jump right back over into my email that I was editing. It's okay to have multiple tabs open when you're working in or outside of design. Since it's just sitting open, I'm fine with having it there. I'm going to paste that in, make my change. Just check again, make sure that there's no other brackets in there to make sure that I don't need to edit anything else, and click done. Get my text in there. I'm just going to delete this piece. And then now we get down. Oh, actually, I want to undo what I just did. I did not want to delete that. We're going to edit that one and say, read the full article below. Done. We're going to take that. I'm actually going to center that. So I'm just going to bring this in and center that text. And then we're going to click on the button and, of course, click on the pencil to edit. And this is where we want to bring in the link. But first we need to put what do we want the button to say? And we want the button to say full article. And then right below there we see link to. And so we have to select what we want to link to. And we're going to link to a web address. And that's where we're going to paste in. Oops, that's not the link we wanted. Go back to my Google Drive, copy the link, go back in here, and paste my web address. I can make the button wider, smaller, change the color of it if I'd like. I'm going to leave it alone just because I like the way it looks now. So I'm going to click done. I want to be extra clear on something. So if I come into any of these editing menus, and I click on the pencil, if I come in here and make a change and say I want to put this and I change it to download the article. If I click over here onto the preview pane, nothing will save. You have to hit the done button at the top for any changes to save. And it's really easy to say, okay, I'm ready to edit this now that I've made that change. And I click here. And it doesn't really seem like anything's happening. It's actually not even letting me get out of there now. Oh, it used to let you get out. So it looks like they fixed that little issue. But now that I click done, now I can come in here and try and edit other pieces. Let me see if it'll let me do it here. Yeah, so if you go in and edit another piece without hitting done, it will not save. So make sure to hit done, and then it will apply your changes over here. Just add a little space at the bottom of this. Bing, bing. There we go. I'm going to edit this piece. Contact me for more details is all it really needs to say. And then it fills out these other pieces for me. This bottom piece you cannot edit, so we can't do much about what it says down there. It just pulls that information in. You can edit some of these pieces if you'd like to take out any of these or switch these around and put in actual words or anything like that. If there's a team name or something you would like to have down here instead of your individual name, you can edit those things. But one of the best things you can do from here is send yourself a test email. So up here at the top, we have this options button, and we have the option to send test email. And then you can just send it over to yourself to see what it actually looks like when it's being sent out. So let's send that out. See, usually doesn't take more than a few seconds. Go into primary. Of course, it takes longer today. There we go. And so now we can take a look and see what that looks like. So we can come in here. See, we can look at the picture. All right. So now we see if my link works. All right. Whew, Zoom does pull it down slow, but. And there we go. There's our newsletter. Wet and Wild Backyard, 6 shortcuts. All right. So let's take another pause. and see, are there any questions about the email creation or using the link inside one of these emails? Thank you, Michael. I see the reaction. I appreciate it. All right. So now let's build it into a web page. And this is one of the easiest web pages you can build for yourself in Command. I'm going to close out of this and discard my changes. All right. And so we're going to rely on Google again. This is another reason I like to use Google, is because when I'm into that that preview, I can click on this 3-dot ellipses again, and I can come down and I can see this embed item option. And I can grab this embedding text and just copy that text right to my clipboard. So I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to go into Command and build a website from it. Real simple. So we click on Consumer. And then we're going to click on Create a New Page. There we go. This little window pops up, and you can choose to, put it on your agent site, or you can put it on a landing page. The steps that we're going to talk about today are the same for each one, but there are a couple additional steps to get it onto your web page. So I'm going to show you guys the one on your web page. Just know that the landing page kind of stops at one point, and you don't have to do anything extra. You just click the link, send the link. The agent site, there's an extra step at the end of finishing it that I want to show you guys. So we're going to create it on my agent site. First thing I want to do is change the title of this, News August Newsletter 2021. And you can see I just have a blank slate here. And all I want to do is go down to the very bottom of the left side where I see these content blocks. And in the content blocks, I can grab the text and drag it in. We see that green line is going to drop it where we want it. And we just have a text box in here. And so we can delete out the insert your text here. And I'm going to right click and paste the text that I've got from Google to embed this. Now, I want this to be centered. So now I'm going to come over here to the right menu again. And I'm going to click on the wheel so that, the paintbrush, so that we can go down to typography and hit the centering button. Centering the text will also center the HTML in the middle of the screen for you real easily. Now we can add in additional pieces if we'd like. If we want to put in any of these other widgets below it, we can. The only ones that I think work really well in this is I might toss in like a testimonial carousel. You got to set these up and have a whole back end to them. But they do look nice in these situations. You can configure that widget. Maybe. All right. And I'm just going to let a couple of these ride out here. It's too long. All right, that'll do. All right, I'm going to save and apply those. Click on Done for my widgets. Come back and hit Save Changes. Now it asks me if I want to publish this to my website, and if I hit yes, it's going to send me right over to that menu where I need to do that. If I hit no, I have to go there myself, so I'm just going to hit yes, and it drops me into the Site Nav Settings menu, all the way over to the agent site pages. So what you can do at this point is you click on Add Page, and you would create, or you would select the August newsletter, hit Continue, and then you fill out all the new page information. So we can come in here, August, Zoom took my mouse, AUGUST, there. I can put in my URL slug, which shows up after the .kw.com/. This is what's going to be there. So we're going to put AUG August News. And then your SEO description, you can come in and put in here, real estate news for August 2021, real statistics, and so on. I'm not going to spend too much time, but once I hit save, this is now on my website. So if I jump over to my website, and I'll have to refresh it since it was already loaded once. Now I come over here and I click on the menu, and you'll see the very last one is the August newsletter loaded in. When I click on that, I can see my newsletter load up. There it is. There's the little widget I put below it. A couple of different reviews slide through. You'll notice that at the bottom of the page, all your legal information stays down there as well on your web page. You don't have to build that out on these. It's just down there. There's a contact card that's down there as well. And then we can come up here and see our newsletter in here. Now, what I like about this, let's see if I can show you guys a mobile view. They still look really good. Oh, maybe not on the iPhone X. There we go. It's just taking a moment, but they do load into these and resize appropriately to phones, tablets, and things like that. You can scroll down through these. You can see the widget at the bottom does the same. Your web page does the same for cell phones and such. So it is crafted to work. You can change the size of this. I don't want to go into too much detail around really getting to the nitty gritty, but you'll see here, where's the Google link? Inside Google, you have width and height adjustments that you can make. So if you want it to be wider or a little bit bigger, you can make your width 800 and your height, 1200 if you want a really full screen tablet experience. If you are okay with something a little smaller, the one that I actually use the most, you guys, is to, instead of using the numbers, which you can see in here, it defaults to numbers, you can use percentages. So you can say 100%. So then it just fills the screen to 100% of what it is as the width. And then you can set the height to, don't use a percent on the height. It usually gets kind of wacky. Use a pixel. So to put a percent in, you just put the number like 100 and then a percent sign instead of the 640 inside the quotation marks. And then that will give you 100% across, which if you look at this quarterly newsletter, I believe is how I have this one set up, which you can see looks a lot the same when you look at it on a desktop because it's already pretty wide on there on its own. But you can see when we look at this one on a phone, it should squeeze it a little tighter for us. Here, let's do 7. Oh, I didn't set that one up that way. All right. So I'm going to take this one off just so you guys know. I can also just come in here, click on this button, and then delete that page. Click to confirm. That takes that page off my website. Now, if I just wanted to update my quarterly newsletter with the new one that I just made with you guys, I can just hit select page. And then now I can select which newsletter I want. So if this is something you do regularly, you just create that newsletter, make the changes, and then once you have that new page, you just upload the new page, hit continue and save. And then that new newsletter is now dropped onto what was the quarterly newsletter page that I had before. And so this is one of my favorite ways to utilize this, because then at this point, if you'd like, you can also use this as your link to send people in your emails. You can, the same way we drop that Google link in there to our email as that button, we could easily put this as where the button goes to for the address. And I like that because it has a search bar for all the real estate in the nation at the top, where people start reading about real estate and they're like, I wonder what my house, I wonder something. And they can come up here and type in their address and find out the information that they're thinking about through the article. So this is actually my favorite link to share, to put into things, to put on Facebook and and actually utilize, because it puts people into my space. Because if they do come to a listing and they click on it and they say, I want to heart that, I want to save that, or I want to go see it, as long as they're on my website, they went through all this, I get those notifications. If they log in or sign up, I get a notification in command of that new contact letting me know that somebody is trying to raise their hand. Now, if I already have them in my command as a contact, they get that nice little green check mark next to them telling you that they've connected into your system. At that point, you're going to see all of their activity. If they look at a listing, it'll list in their timeline for that contact. If they make a collection, you'll see their collections. You'll be able to make save searches for them so that work just like the MLS save searches that we have for RE Colorado, that you can put out instantly, you can put out weekly, daily. There's different options to set up across all of those. But the whole point of this newsletter is not to just show that you have a magazine at your disposal. It is to get people to convert into your system and to utilize these things. And so I love putting it on your website. That's the final kind of big point I want to make, is that putting it on your website like this really makes it full circle. It gives them that full experience and allows you to still be, you know, the professional and look like you have all this going on, where you can change this every month if you want, send a new email out every month, because when it all comes together, you can build it into smart plans. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So with that, I will open it up for any questions that you guys have about the process, about how you can do, or any questions. Can I do this with it? How would I do this? If there's other things I haven't covered you're curious about, I can squash those dreams or maybe help that project fly. What do you guys have for me? Nothing, not even from Brian?
You lost me so long ago. But no, I'll watch it over. I definitely will make one for my website. And I already scheduled a time with you to figure out how to add the reviews on there, because I have a ton of reviews I want to integrate. So
Ooh, that's fun too. So
I already made appointments with you. So there's that.
And that's exactly what anybody who's like, whoa, that was a lot, I'm not sure I can do that. Schedule 30 minutes with you. We can do all this in your command. You'll share your screen. We'll make all the clicks in your command, go through it, create you some templates, and then I'll teach you how to duplicate them for the next month. So maybe we don't have to spend a full 30 minutes on it. We just spend 15 on it and then move on. And so utilize those 30 minutes. That's what those are all there for you guys, is so that you can follow up in classes, get that individualized help that you want and need. So please jump in there and schedule some time. Brian, thank you. Michael, did you want to say something?
You. When are you and Brian meeting about integrating reviews into your site?
Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Perfect. Can I join you guys?
Yep, same link.
Sure.
Time, as long as Brian's okay with it. I'm okay with it, but it's Brian's meeting.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Do you want? Yeah, we can do it. Do you want me? We share an office. Do you want me to just come into the office that day?
Sure, we can do that, or whichever one is easy.
Okay, cool.
Cool, thanks.
Right on. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you guys for being here, all of you. I appreciate it. I'll stop recording now.